Okay, so this is a video that's going to talk a little bit more about the Town Center project. They've come quite a bit along on this particular project over the last few weeks. They released a video on building number two. Building number two is the building they're starting with first. And what's really cool about it, let me find exactly where I put this tab because I don't even remember where I put the tab at now. But as I'm finding that building number two is great because what it does do is it adds uh, not only student housing downtown, which is one of their main targets, they're looking to basically fill in the gaps for. Be quiet, cat. I let you in and now you're just taking over the show. But basically, it helps fill in the gaps for a lot of the lack of housing that is downtown, especially when we're talking about student housing. UWT is facing a housing shortage for students. So a lot of companies are buying for that market because it's very lucrative. And so they're really and truly trying to show that, hey, excuse me, hey, we have a product here that we think is going to work very, very well. Well, in Tacoma, and I'm trying to find the town center. I have been doing a lot of business projects, so um, it's there's tabs everywhere, so I got to find it. But anyhow, you don't care about that. The town center project is working on building number one, and they're basically, if you look at the building, it's about 7 stories tall. The first part of that is concrete, and it is a parking garage, but also it has retail mixed in it. Now, originally I thought it was only going to be one retail space in that student housing portion, because if you look at the design, there's going to be a pedestrian plaza where you can walk down the middle of this town center. There's not going to be any cars allowed. Currently, there's a street that will be closed off once this project is started and completed, but basically that's going to be turned into a pedestrian plaza. You can bicycle through there, ride scooters through there probably, but it's mainly for people to walk through, and there's going to be shops on both sides with retail, with residential up above. There's going to be one large building number one, that's going to have nothing but retail in it. And that's where they're proposing to put some sort of a grocery store or a movie theater there. If you look at old reports, it was saying option number 3, instead of if a movie theater or a grocery store didn't work, they were going to also consider a esports arena. If you look at current reports, it shows completely different. The esports arena is going to happen, and they actually even state a little bit more details than before. The esports arena is going to actually be located on level 2 of building number 1, which is considered to be their retail building. Okay, they've given a little bit more information about this, and I'm going to talk about building number 1, which will be completed first, and then talk about building number 2 a little bit more. But basically, this is going to be a 20,000 square foot esports arena. Now, when you look at the renderings, they show just kind of a general thing where you have a place where they can actually broadcast live various different events and shows that are going to go on there. A lot of these esports arenas allow for multiple folks to come in through a pretty cool system and actually do gaming all day long if they want to, competitions, tournaments, different things like that. I did a video back in the day that talks about a international company that does these types of tournaments. These esports tournaments and these video tournaments, they actually put their American headquarters here in Tacoma. So that helps. And the fact that we have the Tacoma Dome there, these type of events last for a very long time, bringing a large amount of people. So it really does make sense. And I think that given the fact that a lot of developers now are considering these esports arenas, it makes sense to put it in something like the town center. They're saying that they're going to have video games, mini golf, bowling, and more inside of this particular facility. So that's going to be in building number 2, which they have not started yet, but building number 2 is going to connect to building number 1. Building number 1, because when you look at building number 1 itself, it's the retail unit, and it's going to be about 200 and something thousand square feet, I believe, on its own. And so, or 100 and something thousand square feet. I can't remember the way that they actually have it. But basically, it's going to have several units of retail along the pedestrian plaza. And the other component within that, because it's going to be several levels, is going to be a large movie theater or grocery store. Now, given the fact that there's so much residential spaces going in, there's just word of another project going in as far as residential, right in the core of downtown just yesterday. But given the fact that there's so many residential spaces downtown, probably a grocery store would be the best thing to put down there. I do think a movie theater would be perfect for downtown, but it needs to be located in a completely different project, because there's just a lot of people that are moving down there. Now, with that, this entire project's going to have over 24 spaces for retail. So it's going to be a pretty cool concept. Several hundred units of apartments as well. Excuse me. Now, when we look at the phase two, or the building number two is actually going up now. And as I mentioned, it's going to have a parking garage in it. The parking garage is going to, is basically about 2 stories tall. I don't know if they built another floor below ground. I'm not sure. But it's going to be 2 floors. And then on top of that is 5 floors that they've actually built. And it's all wood frame, right? That's where the residential component's going to be. Now, I looked at renderings just the other day. And if I can find it, which I haven't found it yet, what I did not know is the fact that they're actually going to have more than just one retail space in there. The retail space inside of this, where did I put it? I'm just going to open it up again. The retail space that they're going to have in building number 2, which is the residential site, is not facing the pedestrian plaza at all. None of that retail is going to be there, which is kind of interesting. But the way the lay of the land is, excuse me, it doesn't really allow it. So the land right there is kind of built up. So they're not going to put residential facing the pedestrian plaza, but it will be facing on the opposite street, which is going to be Jefferson Avenue. So on the Jefferson Avenue side, they're going to actually have retail spaces there. When you look at the retail spaces, which actually have the blueprints here, which is pretty cool, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units that are facing Jefferson Avenue. Okay, so there's going to be 5 retail, Okay, 5 retail spaces. None of them are over 1,500 square feet. So they're kind of small. Now, I do know that they wanted to have a wine bar located and built in the first part of this. I don't know if this is going to be in this particular unit. I think the company itself, the developer, is actually building a lot of, creating a lot of stores on their own, right? So the Esports Arena, they're going to own on their own. And then maybe this wine bar they're going to own on their own. I'm not sure. But the retail units, there's 101A, 101B, 101C, 101D, 101E. That's the way that they have them laid out. These are the ones that they're marketing right now. Now, they're marketing pretty much everything for this building. But the ones that they're really and truly heavily marketing are the ones that are going to be completed first. And it's going to be these 5 units, which is going to be great. Now, retail 101A is 1,480 square feet. Retail 101B is 584 square feet. 101C, 1,379 square feet. 101D, 1,376. And 101E, 1,039 square feet. So all of those are going to be facing Jefferson Avenue. And it makes sense. It's good to have that component already there. This building is designed or tagged to be basically a student housing building. So I would imagine a lot of retailers would probably grab that up pretty quickly because they're looking for, students. Office space is at a premium downtown somewhat, but retail space is becoming a pretty hot commodity in Tacoma. It's a very hot commodity. So a brand new build like this, I don't anticipate it's going to take long for this to fill up, and probably those units are already gone. It's already listed with real estate agents and things like that. So Probably they're already gone as far as these first five. Not sure. But anyhow, they're renting, and they're pretty pricey. I mean, for most people, they're pretty pricey to actually rent out. But that's what they're working on in terms of that. Now, building one, if we go back and look at that, that's going to be the largest of the retail aspects, the retail buildings. Building one is the one where it's going to be at least 3 to 4 stories tall. And it's going to have a lot of different components within it. It's also going to have a parking structure inside of it too. So just like building two that has a parking garage and basically they built retail on top, this one's going to have a parking garage and they're going to build retail on top. Or I'm sorry, building two has retail on bottom, parking garage, and residential on top. Building number one, the large retail block, is going to have parking below, and also it's going to have retail on pretty much all the floors. So the parking garages look like they're going to be connected, right? So it's going to be one giant parking garage, the way that they're doing it. And it kind of shows that in this, but it's going to have various different types of retail components on it. Some of them are going to be large. One of the spaces by itself is 75,000 square feet. There's another one for 41,000 square feet, 33,000 square feet. So it's going to have a lot of different places for various different types of businesses that want to go there. And then also they have areas that they've listed as a food hall. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Looks like they have 11 different places for food companies. So those vendors that, you go to a mall, you know what those type of vendors are. It seems like they're going to have their own private entrance as well. So that's really cool. And again, that's on the 3rd floor. So this project by itself seems like it's going to be a huge, huge boost for downtown. Like I said, the developer does comment updates, on their YouTube page showing where the project is. But it seems like once building one is open up, it's going to be a big change for downtown. Adding that many people downtown, they're pretty much almost complete. They're working on the outside shell of the building. But adding that many people downtown, especially trying to grab the student population, downtown Tacoma is changing. I had mentioned in the video I did previously on this one about the amount of people downtown. It used to be kind of a ghost town. Now, I'm not saying it's bustling down there, by no means, but you're seeing much more people who are coming down there than before. Now, what is interesting is that this Esports Arena, bouncing back to that, 20,000 square feet. It's a pretty big facility. When you look at Flat Stick Pub, which is a company out of Seattle, and they've gotten 2 locations there in Seattle. They have one in Kirkland. They're opening up one in Spokane. They're opening up one in, I think, Sacramento, California. So they're expanding quickly. But the project here in Tacoma that they're going to put one in is going to be their largest one of the 3 that they already have that exist, and I think it's going to be even bigger than the one in Spokane. But that project's only 12,000 square feet, and they're going to have their own various different games and things like that. And that's going to be right there in the busy bar section of Tacoma, right off of Pacific Avenue. So downtown is really becoming a destination, but it'd be interesting to see how this Esports Arena pairs with something like Flat Stick, which is having similar ventures. I mean, they're kind of similar but different. Excuse me. Very interesting to see how all of this actually works together. But again, downtown's pretty hot. If you're wanting to rent, because I have people who ask, rent an apartment in a safe neighborhood, downtown is about as safe as you're going to get in Tacoma. I can't say the same about downtown Seattle, but downtown Tacoma is very safe. In fact, our friends that are here from out of town, the light rail shut down, and so we walked from McMenamins all the way to our car, which was parked at UWT, and that's about a mile. And we told them it's safe. We were walking with the kids, and we didn't encounter anyone. It's just very safe. Hopefully, it will continue that way as more and more stuff gets added. But given the safety factor, the tons of things to do, close to a lot of attractions, Downtown is probably the best place to actually rent. Prices are pretty high there. They're at a premium, but you can definitely find deals. You have to look around. They're adding new units all the time, new buildings all the time. Probably in the next 5 years, they're going to be adding 1,000 more units, thousands of more units, I should say. So just with this town center project, the project that was announced yesterday, for example, if you look yesterday, let me find it real quick, just to give you an idea. There's an old hotel that was just hanging around, and it's been boarded up. It would be perfect for a grocery store below if nobody did anything. Put some retail in there, like a grocery store. It's right in the core of downtown, right on Market Street. But that building sold for only $875,000. That's a steal when you look at the size of the building and where it is. They're going to tear that down and they're going to put in 126 market rate apartments. And given the fact that they're only out of the 126 apartments, basically it's an 86,000 square foot building, 68 studio apartments, 14 one-bedroom apartments, 41 two-bedroom apartments, and only 3 three-bedroom apartments. They're going to range in size from 290 square feet to 1,025 square feet. And there's only going to be 26 parking spaces, but loads of bike parking. Now, this is all from Tacoma Untapped, reading from their page. This is going to be a pretty large project, right? When you consider exactly where it is, the very small amount of parking. When people say I don't have a car, I tell them the best place to live is downtown, because most buildings down there now is not going to have enough parking for you anyway. And then when you do get a parking spot, you're going to have to pay for it. Downtown's becoming more and more a place where it's pedestrian, and that's why the town center is really trying to capture that. It's close to the light rail anyway. It's right close there to UWT. It's right there, taking advantage of the trail, the Prairie Line Trail as well. So all of that blends together, and so they're trying to make it as pedestrian friendly as possible downtown. Less need for a car. With all the transit options down there, it makes sense. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video on the update of the town center and the whole Esports Arena. It looks like it's going to happen definitely in a later phase in building number 1. But building number 2, that's almost completed, is going to have 5 units of retail, which is going to be pretty cool. We have to see what's going to go in there. And when we do, I will definitely let you know. Until next time, I will see you. Take care.